Anyway, let's just settle into a nice, comfortable, seated, what did I do? Seated posture. And, feet flat on the floor, if you're sitting that way, or in a nice cross-legged position if you prefer to sit that way as well. Shoulders align with the hips and just lengthen the spine. Imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light, stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. And just imagine that string of pearls of light is going beyond the crown, and you're just lengthening. And just take a nice deep breath. And notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And just bring your attention to the crown of the head and relax the scalp, the forehead, the nose, the eyes, the cheeks, the mouth, the jaw, back of the head, back of the neck. Allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat, the chest, and the belly, and all of your limbs. So really try and allow some softening, just a little bit of softening to come into the body, into the face, into the head, the neck, the shoulders. And, be aware that you might be feeling distracted tonight as you turn up, or you might, whatever's going on, just kind of sitting down in front of the computer and joining the Zoom. That may be all that's enough for you tonight. Anything else beyond that is a bonus. So just rejoice in your effort in turning up tonight. And then if there's any sounds in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. And then just be aware of the thoughts that are arising, like what's going on in the background there. And so try not to criticize the thoughts that are arising. Follow the stories. Make up new stories. Just allow the thoughts to arise and abide. And then just float away. And then bring to mind all the people of your life. And start with the loved ones. They're very sweet, dear, precious ones. These are, there are some people in our lives karmically we're connected to, and that we have just really profound relationships with them. And then there's those people we don't like so much, and then there's our strangers, and they can all change place at any time, these relationships. And then remember, they're all equal in their wish to be happy, their wish to be free from suffering, and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. So I think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And we're going to do this purification practice for ourselves, and we'll do it for all those beings of our life. I mean, you people don't know this man who's in the previous meditation class, but he brought his cat in this evening. Her name is Luna, and he was going to take her to the vet to be put down after the class. So I'm assuming she's already crossed that rainbow bridge. So just bring her to mind. We did Medicine Buddha for her while she was with us, but it's always a very difficult decision to make. And so just thinking about her. And so anyone else who has any other pets or people, bring them to mind. You can even bring them with you. Just imagine them sitting beside you. So there is no negativity that can't be purified. Because this purification process is mental. It's psychological. We're working with our mind. So we start with the power of regret. So we sincerely regret from the depths of our heart anything we have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. So think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of the future suffering that we ourselves will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor who has the methods that we can use to purify. And it's not that we're needing Buddha to forgive us. We purify ourselves by relying upon his methods. So here we have our beautiful Vajrasattva. So you can imagine an image something like this above the crown of your head. So not everybody is, comfortable with visualizing. It's not easy for everybody in this room. So for those of you who are artists, maybe, or have some training in the visual field, this wouldn't be such a hard thing. But for other people, it's not so easy. So in that case, you can just imagine this blissful ball of white light above the crown of your head. So what's really important, rather than getting all the details correct, is trying to get a feeling for the compassion and the kindness and the wisdom, this kind of energy from this Buddha. So we're not wanting Buddha to forgive us. We're not looking for this. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his methods. So you can imagine this, he's above the crown of your head. You can also imagine he's showing up as the mind of your teacher for your benefit. He's made radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, has a beautiful radiant face and beautiful eyes. And they're long, shaped like lotus petals, and they're peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So we have this little section here on compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So that you see that the first step of developing compassion is this equanimity mantra, equanimity meditation that we do at the very beginning. So that's the first step in developing compassion, developing bodhicitta, is equanimity. So now you have a little bit of a flavor for that. So you understand that you need to rely on people, sentient beings, in order to develop a wish for them to be free from suffering. So think of people you've harmed, those who have harmed us, and someone you've harmed recently or in the past, particularly for the ones that have harmed us, because the harm they've caused us will manifest the suffering for them in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dina Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dina Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with the body. And next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you can just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa, sutokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of the mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So just imagine you walk into a pitch black room and you flick on that switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So just imagine that all the attachment and neediness and bitterness and anger, depression, anxiety, resentment, jealousy, grudges, all instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuruhum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta me boa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Ambajasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawa Siddhi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum. So just be delighted at all the delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified, and think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And imagine Vajrasattva sending light and nectar, and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hom ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawa siddhi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream, even those subtlest imprints. And these obscurations to our enlightenment have been removed. And now is the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. It's a really important step where we make a decision to refrain from harming. So, in a way, it's no point even doing this practice if you have no intention of changing or even thinking about changing. So, well, I guess maybe, but the power of this practice is not simply just the mantra. The superpower of this particular practice is what we do with our mind around it, the four opponent powers. So this is the final one. And so this, without making a decision that we want to do things differently, we're just going to behave the same way over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to not harm becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So think of something you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow. Maybe you can only work on it for 60 seconds. And it's really important that we try and catch all the negative self-talk and all the stories that go on inside our mind. It's always a good place to start. Maybe catching ourselves from gossiping. This determination to try and frame is what gives us strength. So Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light, absorbs into you through your crown, and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Rinpoche recommended to meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, just place your mind there for a moment. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So now just make a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche's unmistaken reincarnation, and then for all your own teachers, young or old, that they would live long and continue to teach. Okay, everybody, so lovely to see you all. Lots of love. Good night, sweet dreams.